Welcome back to Ego and Empathy, the podcast where we explore the psychology behind human behavior and the subtle ways it shapes our lives. I'm your host, Mandy, and today we're diving into one of the most emotionally draining manipulation tactics used by narcissists. It's subtle, it's sneaky, and it leaves you questioning whether you're the one who did something wrong. Today's topic is guilt tripping. If you've ever found yourself apologizing just to keep the peace, feeling bad for setting a boundary, or constantly trying to make up for something you didn't even do, then you've probably experienced guilt tripping. Guilt tripping is a way of controlling someone through emotional pressure. It's when a person uses your empathy, your kindness, and your sense of responsibility to get what they want. For narcissists, it's one of the most effective ways to maintain power. Because they know that if they can make you feel guilty, they can make you act against your own needs. Let's break this down. In healthy relationships, guilt serves a purpose. It helps us recognize when we've hurt someone and motivates us to make things right. But with a narcissist, guilt is not about repair, it's about control. They don't want resolution, they want submission. A narcissist knows that empaths and caring people hate the idea of being the bad guy. So they twist situations to make you feel like you're selfish, ungrateful, or cruel for doing something that threatens their control. Here are a few examples of how guilt tripping might sound. I can't believe you treat me like this after everything I've done for you. I guess I just don't matter to you anymore. Wow, you really think you're better than everyone now, huh? You've changed, and not in a good way. Or even more subtly. That's fine, do what you want, I'll just deal with the pain alone. Each of these statements has the same goal: to make you question your right to make a decision that protects you. Let's say you set a boundary, like telling your partner you need a night to yourself. Instead of respecting that, they sigh and say, I guess you just don't want to be around me anymore. Suddenly, you feel bad for taking space, even though you've done nothing wrong. That's guilt tripping in action. Narcissists use guilt tripping to confuse your emotional compass. They want you to believe that taking care of yourself is selfish. That standing up for yourself is cruel. That saying no is betrayal. And because you're someone who values love, fairness, and connection, you bend to their emotional pressure. You give in, not because you're weak, but because you have empathy. They weaponize the very qualities that make you human. There are a few different types of guilt tripping that narcissists use. The first is martyrdom. They play the victim, acting as though they're suffering because of your choices. They'll say things like, I always put you first, and this is how you repay me. The goal is to make you feel like you owe them constant care and attention. The second is comparison. They bring up how much better you used to be, or how much more loyal someone else is. I miss the old you, they might say. Or, at least your sister would never treat me this way. The goal here is to create shame and self-doubt, so you try to win back their approval. The third type is emotional debt. They remind you of every good thing they've ever done, twisting it into leverage. After all I've done for you, you can't even do this one thing. It sounds like logic, but it's manipulation. Healthy love doesn't come with a receipt. And then there's invisible obligation. This happens when they don't say anything directly. But their silence, their tone, or their disappointment says it all. You can feel the guilt without words. They withdraw affection, make you feel excluded, or act like you've let them down. You start trying to fix the mood, even though you didn't cause it. That's emotional control through guilt. So how do you stop falling into the guilt trap? The first step is awareness. When you start feeling guilty, pause and ask yourself, did I actually do something wrong, or am I just being made to feel like I did? If you can't point to a real wrongdoing, it's likely manipulation. The second step is emotional separation. Remember that their disappointment is not your responsibility. You are allowed to make choices that protect your peace, even if someone else doesn't like it. You are not responsible for how they react to your boundaries. The third step is language. When faced with guilt tripping, avoid defending yourself endlessly. Instead, use calm, short responses that close the conversation. Try saying things like, "I'm sorry you feel that way," or "That's your perspective." It signals that you're not playing the game. And the final step, if the guilt tripping continues, is distance. Because people who rely on guilt to control you rarely change. They only escalate when the tactic stops working. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is step back and stop giving access to your emotions. Over time, you'll notice that the more you resist guilt tripping, the more uncomfortable they become. That's because their control depends on your emotional reaction. When you stop reacting, the game ends. Breaking free from guilt tripping takes practice, especially if you've been conditioned to please. You might feel guilty for not feeling guilty. But remember, guilt is supposed to be temporary, not a lifelong sentence. You are allowed to feel peace without apology. You are allowed to say no without explanation. And you are allowed to make choices based on self-respect, not fear. Guilt tripping is one of the most effective tools narcissists use, but once you see it clearly, it loses its power. You begin to see the difference between genuine care and manipulation disguised as love. You stop saying, "I'm sorry," for things that are not your fault. And you start reclaiming your voice. If you found this episode helpful, take some time to listen to the others in this series. Especially the ones on love bombing, blame shifting, and silent treatment. Each of these topics connects with guilt tripping, and together they give you a full understanding of the cycle of narcissistic abuse and how to protect yourself from it. Thank you for listening, and remember, love never needs guilt to survive. Keep your heart kind, your boundaries firm, and your peace sacred. I'll see you in the next episode.